What's good, people? Today I want to talk about belief systems, because belief systems are the foundation of achievement in a person's life. And one of the biggest differentiators in people normally comes down to what they believe is possible for themselves. And a lot of the belief systems that we have, we never really consciously decided for ourselves. So we unconsciously accepted ideas from what people have said to us, things that we've seen, experiences that we've had, especially the traumatic ones. So I want to touch on the traumatic experiences for a minute. Because a lot of the time when you have a traumatic experience, especially when you're young, you don't necessarily consciously process them accurately, or you don't consciously interpret the event accurately. So you sometimes unconsciously take in ideas, accept ideas about who you are, what's true about the world, what's appropriate inaccurately. And then these things come back and bite you. They create blockages in your life later. So let me give you guys an example. A good example of this is like elephants in the circus. So when you look at elephants in the circus, like how did they get that big elephant to be like balancing on these little beach balls? How do they do that? All right, what they actually do is they get the elephants when they're young. So they get it when it's a baby, and then they tie it to like a stake in the ground, so like a piece of metal in the ground, or like a wooden log that's in the ground. And even though the elephant's a baby and it's tied to that thing, it has enough sense to know that I shouldn't be here doing all these shows. I should be in the safari chilling with my friends. So it tries to pull itself free. It's busy trying to pull itself free, pulling and pulling and pulling. But at this moment in time, the elephant's not strong enough. So as it continues to struggle and resist, it begins to get worn down. So it's getting tired. And then eventually it gives up and it accepts the idea that it will never be able to pull itself free. Now the elephant begins to grow. And then it gets to a size where it's big enough to really just rip itself free, like just really smash up the joint, like show's over, baby, choke over the owner, and smash everybody up, and then go to the safari and hang out with his friends. But it doesn't do it. Why? Because in the elephant's mind, it still believes that it's still the small little elephant that's not strong enough to break free. So it still thinks that what happened in the past, what was appropriate in the past, though it was accurate that it wasn't strong enough to break itself free back then, still applies now. So it still thinks that the past equals the future, or it still equals the present. And a lot of us do that to ourselves in our own lives. We have experiences in the past where things have gone wrong, we've experienced pain, and then we accept the idea of what happened to me now means this is always going to be true for me. So I'm always going to be a shy person. I'm always going to be a timid person. You know, I lack discipline. I'll never be able to get that. You accept these ideas for yourself to be true. Now, though sometimes like in the example of the elephant, it may have been appropriate back then, it doesn't necessarily have to mean it'll be appropriate right now. And the thing that I want to really stress to you guys is that when you're having traumatic experiences or you're experiencing pain of some kind, it's important that you try to remain conscious and analyze these things accurately. Because what your brain does is your brain is trying to protect you. When you experience pain, what it does is it looks for three things. So it looks for, the first thing it looks for is what's unique. So if you've been okay, you've been feeling good, everything's Gucci, and then all of a sudden you're feeling pain in your chest, heartbreak, things are going wrong, you feel worthless, your brain goes, what happened? What's unique? What's changed? Right? So it looks for something that's unique, something that's different. So it only makes sense to do that. For you to suddenly start feeling differently, something must have happened, something out of the ordinary, something that's unique. The second thing that your brain looks for, it looks for what's consistent. So it only makes sense that if something unique has happened and it's consistently happening, then it must be the cause of what's happening to me. It must be the cause of the pain. And the third thing it looks for is it looks for something that's simultaneous. So we call this the law of recency. So it looks for something that suddenly happened when you started feeling bad, and then it looks for something that's simultaneously happening. So if your brain realizes like, this thing is unique, this thing is consistently happening, and it's simultaneously happening to the point of where I felt pain and when I feel pain, this must be the reason for the pain. And your brain is doing all this unconsciously. It's making this, and the problem with the brain doing it unconsciously is that sometimes it can be inaccurate, which is why it's so important that you remain consciously aware when you're experiencing pain. Because what your brain can do is it can create crazy things. So for example, let's say you have a heartbreak, something goes really wrong. Your brain looks for it and it realizes, you know what causes heartbreak is passion. I was enthusiastic. I was open with this person. I really gave my heart, and that led me to pain. So as a result of this, I now believe that passion equals pain. So you put up all these walls up, or you put all these walls up, and then you inhibit part of your own personality, right? And that comes back and bites you in many different, especially when we're talking about personalities. For example, if you believe that passion equals pain, or being open or being vulnerable equals pain, which many of us do, I've been guilty of this myself, it actually weakens you. Because one, it weakens you in the area of authenticity. Because when somebody is passionate and is open to being vulnerable, for example, it breeds about this aura of authenticity, and it draws people to you. If somebody believes that passion equals pain or being open equals pain, it inhibits your relationships. right? It affects loads of different ways. It can also affect your creativity. So there are many different scales and ways that it affects you. So when we're talking about limiting belief systems, like how does a person know that they have a limiting belief system, or how does a person figure out what limiting belief systems that they have? Well, the first thing that you can do is book a consultation with me. Ha ha! No, seriously, book a consultation with me. But I can give you one thing for free that can help you out. And it's this, is that your belief systems often manifest through behavior. So you want to look at your behavior. So if you're feeling fearful, you're feeling timid, or you feel anxious, or in a particular situation, one thing you can ask yourself is, what must I believe about myself, or what must I believe about this situation to be behaving this way? That will often give you a good indicator of what your belief systems are. And once you become aware of what the limiting belief systems are, you're now in a position where you can change it, where you can choose something else. But your belief systems will change when you begin to question them, when you begin to question whether they're accurate or not. So whenever you experience pain, remain consciously aware. So analyze the thing. What's true about this? So for example, going back to the example of the person who believes that passion equals their pain, maybe it wasn't passion. Maybe it wasn't you being vulnerable. Maybe this person was just a bad fit for you. Maybe this person didn't line up with your values. You had a difference in values, or maybe you didn't hold your own boundaries and it led to the disrespect that caused you pain. There are many different reasons, but remain consciously aware of it. So that's the video of the day. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be back again for Saturday's video. Peace.